Wonderful. Welcome, everybody. Monica, Empower Your Health, Empower Your Life TV. Well, we connect you with health and wellness resources so that you can empower yourself and create the life you want and the life you love. Welcome, everybody. We have amazing guests today, and I'm looking forward to hearing about their story and how they help their patients as therapists. So let me introduce two fantastic therapists, myofascial release therapists, Rachel Wachter and Jamie Lipton. And they are both a part of Portland Myofascial Release Clinic in Portland, Oregon, and specializing in John Barnes Myofascial Release. It was founded in 2019. By four of them, and they utilize a team approach to achieve life-changing results for the patients. And so today we have Jamie and Rachel to represent the clinic and tell us all about it. So let me introduce them a little bit to you. So Rachel has been practicing physical therapy since 2009. I'm sorry, 2009.
2009, yeah.
Oh my goodness. She found her path to John Barnes Myofascial Release in 2016. This was when the journey into true healing began, and she left her traditional physical therapy position to pursue a more holistic approach to therapy. She finds herself most drawn towards working with women who have pelvic floor pain and dysfunction and who silently suffer with chronic pain. She's deeply passionate about this work and brings love and compassion to every treatment she has the honor to be part of. Wow. So the other wonderful guest today is Jamie Lipton, and he is a licensed massage therapist and an expert in John Barnes Myofascial Release approach. He found myofascial release as a patient and was so transformed by his healing journey that he became a therapist. Even after hundreds of hours of training, amazing opportunities to teach alongside John Barnes, and thousands of hours of treatments, he considers himself an eternal student and strives to greet each session with the curiosity of a beginner. Wow, what a beautiful presence you guys have, and combining that love and compassion for your patients and being that eternal student. So I'm so grateful and so excited to have you here, and just wanted you to tell us a little bit about who you are, your clinic, and your journey. So let's begin. Tell us about how the whole thing with the Portland Myofascial Release Clinic started. When did that idea came to you?
Rachel?
All right.
Oh goodness. Well, after I had taken my first John Barnes course, it became apparent that there was a piece missing in not only my form of providing healthcare, but just in healthcare in general. And so it changed me profoundly. So I started taking more courses and bringing this amazing work back to my patients. And I was actually working in pediatrics at the time. And it was so wonderful to see the kiddos transforming and blossoming and coming out of their shell. But I saw this big need for this type of health care to be brought to women, because I would sit with these kids and the moms would talk to me and tell me their stories and their pain and the things that they were going through, and not feeling seen or heard, or not knowing where to turn for help. So I took the women's health course and then did more studying on pelvic floor care, and realized that this traditional PT setting was not right for me. And so I left that and started kind of doing my own thing. And in the combination of doing that, myself and Jamie, and then our two other partners, Corey and Spencer, were doing just treatments on each other. We were doing group unwindings, and we were just collaborating and doing study groups, and just the four of us really learning and growing from each other. And we decided that why not take this magical space that we create for ourselves and create that for others. So we sat down, we reminisced about this recently. We sat down at a burger restaurant and we pulled out a napkin and we started writing down ideas on this napkin. Like, what would this clinic look like if we did this? And I think we still have a picture of the napkins around somewhere.
Yeah, we got to frame it.
Yeah, we do. We should. And then we just kind of said, can we do this? Is this a thing? And we all said, yeah, we're it. So we all collectively left our other positions that we were in, not for a lack of not loving them, but just seeing a bigger picture, a pillar in the community of myofascial release to create this center for all to come and heal and enjoy and love and learn. And then it just kind of blossomed from there. So I don't know, Jamie, do you have something to add to that?
Yeah, that was beautiful. You covered most of it. But just briefly, I found myofascial release through my wife, who is Ginevra Lipton, who is a doctor specializing in fibromyalgia. And I don't have fibromyalgia, but I suffered from migraines for most of my adult life. And early on in my marriage, she, as a wife does, gently and then firmly pushed me to get myofascial release for migraines. And over the course of quite a while of treatment, the migraines went away, and I learned that there were levels to myself I had completely neglected. And so a couple of years went on, and I got some more wisdom from my wife that, you'd be a really good MFR therapist. And I said, you're crazy. And of course, she was totally right. And so I dove headfirst into myofascial release. I entered massage school and started training with John in the same month. And I've never looked back. That was about 10 years ago. But the one thing, so I joined my wife's clinic to treat fibromyalgia patients, and I got a real kind of boot camp on how to treat people in pain. It was an amazing experience. For about 5 years, we worked side by side treating people in pain. And for those who've read her book, The Fibro Manual, you know that she recommends that every fibromyalgia patient gets myofascial release as a part of their healing journey. So that was a real wonderful training ground for me. But the one thing I really yearned for was the sense of community that other myofascial release therapists will recognize from our seminars. When we come together in that room with all of these people willing to open themselves and be vulnerable and go deep together, the energy is remarkable. And I wanted to live in that all the time. And it sounded at the time, it felt like a pipe dream. But that's what I wanted. That was in my heart. How can we make that happen? And as you know, most myofascial release therapists who do what we do, there isn't a lot of infrastructure out there for us. We usually have to create that on our own. And so most of us just hang up a shingle, or we join like a wellness collaborative. But we're kind of on our own as MFR therapists. And as Rachel described, we kind of organically formed this 4-person study group where we were treating each other regularly, and we just developed this beautiful harmony together in chemistry, and we could kind of feel as a collective the dynamic in that room and what everybody needed, and kind of mix and match our energies and harmonize them beautifully. And as she said, when the idea kind of popped up, like, can't we just do this all the time? My heart just blossomed. And ever since then, it's just, I never thought that professionally I could be this happy. It's so beautiful to kind of live in that space that we've consciously created, where we want to broaden the available room for people to heal. And we have a program where we treat people intensely for a week, and we end it with all of us in the room with them. And the space we're able to hold and the beautiful flow of energy in that room, it never fails to to bring a tear to my eye. It's a beautiful thing, and I'm so grateful to my partners, Rachel and Corey and Spencer, to be doing this with me. It's amazing.
Wow. Yes. Rachel, do you have anything else to add that came up for you?
Oh my gosh.
Probably.
No, I mean, I think I just mirror Jamie's sentiments, and it's never, I never dread going to work. I never dread getting up and being there and being present. And even when you're having a rough day, and, we all have life.
I think you froze a little.
Oh, we lost her for a second.
Okay. I think
I would just say, in regards to coming and enjoying coming to work, I've never been at a job where I wanted to hug everybody as soon as I walked in the door. Yeah. We lost you for a second there.
Yes, you're back.
Oh, did you? Oh,
Yeah.
shoot. Oh.
Yes. Oh, sorry about that.
I'm back. Well, what I was saying is just work brings, it's not work. It brings a lightness. So you come in and you're with family, and you're with like-minded people, and we all support each other in the sense that if somebody is having problems with outside life, we say, take care of it. I got you, and I think that's kind of how we model what we do in our clinic with our patients is, yes, life is hard. Like, let me sit with you in that and hold space for that. And let's see how we can clear that and make your life more joyful and fulfilling, because we do that for each other as well. So,
and we've had lots of opportunities over the last couple of years with the pandemic. We started our clinic 6 months before the pandemic hit.
Wow.
So we had just enough time to establish kind of the rhythm we wanted with each other before this massive adversity hit us. And I honestly think we wouldn't be as deeply connected today as we are had that not happened, because Rachel's exactly right. We had to support each other. We didn't have a choice. We had to come to each other's aid time after time.
Beautiful. Wow. Yes. What really stands out for me is that you started as patients. You treated each other. You really kind of came in holding each other in that space and healing. And from there, it's just organically came up that you can create that space. So what I love about it is that, that constant exchange between being a patient and a therapist. Like, we always on the same page. We know what it is for the patient to go through, because we've been there, right? And yes. So I love this.
Our teacher, John Barnes, as you know, Monica, teaches us we can only take our patients as far as we're willing to go ourselves. So one of the best employee benefits we have is we are receiving treatment all the time from each other too. In addition to our patients teaching us, of course, but we hold each other accountable in that way to continue to go deeper and grow as people, so we can hold a better space for our patients.
Wow, it's amazing. I mean, I'm just so amazed at how it just came up for you organically, and just
so are we.
Yeah, it was meant to be. Wonderful. So tell us. So also, what's coming up for me is that because there's 4 of you, and each one of you has slightly different expertise, different energy, different approach, and it's just a different person, like we all are. And what's coming up for me is that this affords this incredible opportunity for your patients, because they don't just have to interact with this one therapist who always just brings the same thing in a way, right? So how does that work? I know you have intensives, but maybe you can talk more about it, how you are bringing those different energies and different expertise fields into helping your patients.
Great.
Sure. Yeah, and that's it. What you said is exactly kind of how we modeled everything, is the opportunity to see as many different hands and energies and spaces as we can provide for you. So a patient may come in and see Jamie to start, and Jamie may be working with them, and this happens pretty frequently, is that he'll feel that they need some more pelvic floor care, or you know, feeling into the space where being with more female energy might be good. So he'll say, hey, Rachel or Corey, I have this patient. Can you see them for a little while and do maybe some pelvic floor work and see where that goes? And they'll come into that space and be like, wow, I didn't even realize that this was something that I needed. And then just in the reverse, patients will come in and see, you know, Corey and I, and we'll say, you know, we have these beautiful men here who are safe, and they hold space for you, for women who maybe haven't been able to trust men or feel into that avenue because of traumas and things that they've experienced. We also provide partner treatments too. So we will collectively go in and treat together. You know, Jamie and I could go in and see a patient together, and the ability for Jamie and I, or for Spencer and I, or for all of us, we work together so beautifully for us to just kind of connect our energies. And then that is transferred so much into the patient and connected with them as well. Just having two therapists and one patient, the energy is just profound. And the changes that people are able to go through, and the transformations and the feelings that they're able to bring up is like nothing I've ever experienced. You know, as a therapist, it's eye-opening and it's inspiring. So it's not just that we're providing this for you, it's that it's also transforming us every day too, which is pretty cool. It's a gift. So yes, we encourage our patients to not just see the first person that you come in and see, to experience as many people as you can, because we have that, we offer that. And it's a pretty cool dynamic. So
the only thing I would add to that, that kind of conscious effort to expand people's thoughts about who they should see, there's a real organic element to it too. We're all fortunate to be very busy, and so very often a new patient will come in, we'll see them for a time or two, and then we go to schedule them again, and like, oh, I can't see you for a couple weeks, but Spencer could see you, or Rachel could see you, and the universe just kind of provides that flow. And then they end up going on a journey through all of us that provides them something that me as an individual therapist couldn't provide alone. And that only works because we completely trust each other. Like, I have no doubts that if Rachel sees somebody that I've been caring for, you know, we develop kind of a love for these patients, and we really are protective of them sometimes. But what makes it possible for me to open that door is that complete trust that Rachel's going to do exactly what this patient needs. And that, again, not to belabor the point, is born out of the way we formed, in that we were treating each other. And I can't, you know, to go deeply in myofascial release treatment, I have to open myself, and to have my three partners here, their hands on me in that vulnerable space, allows me to really trust them to work collaboratively in a way that goes beyond conscious, like, oh, I trust Rachel's skill and I trust her experience, you know, yes, but it's much deeper than that. Like, I would trust her with my life, and I have.
Yes. Wow. Yeah. I mean, it's beautiful. And on the one hand, you know, you think you guys are lucky. You connected with each other, lucky in a good way. And of course, there was a lot of, I can imagine it is a lot of work, because, you know, being able to be open and vulnerable and going into therapy as a patient, it's not an easy and light thing. We go
no, it's not. It takes a lot of work.
Yeah. And so you went there first, and you paving, you know, that way for your patient, like what is possible. But it is increased, you know, it's magnified by the four of you. So I have a few things I wanted to touch on. And so you mentioned you have intensives for your patients, and so you treat them. How does that work? And can you tell more about why this can be so groundbreaking or life-changing for your patients?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Jamie.
You know, we come from the school of John Barnes, and John teaches us to trust the energy in our body, and to allow it to take you where you need to go. And just coming to see a therapist once a week or even twice a week, you still have all that time in between those things where the patterns you have developed over the course of your life, they tend to creep back in no matter how hard you fight it, right? We can give them a ball, we can give them self-releases to do at home, and they can be very diligent about that. But they still have, the argument with their spouse. They still have the stress of taking care of their children. They still have going to work every day. And so we wanted to offer an immersive experience where, yes, those things are still in your life, but you block out some time. We offer it for a week at a time, where this is the focus of your life. All things you still have to tend to, but really you're making the commitment, investing in yourself, that this is where you're going to put your energy. So as those things come up, let's say in the first day they come up, immediately, boom, we're into that. We're chasing down that hole. We're not just like, oh, there it is. Okay, well, we'll get back to it. Now we need to open up that hole again, and we'll get back to it. We're continuing to continue, so that this roller coaster of healing, rather than going like this, it goes like this, right? So it can be very, very chaotic, but ultimately incredibly rewarding, because you get to a depth that you might not be able to get to even after years of this kind of slower pace of treatment. And then the big thing that keeps me alive, and I know Rachel feels this way too, as we've talked about it, is that in these intensive treatments, we partner. There's 2 of us, there's 3 of us, there's 4 of us. And as a therapist, seeing that person together with my fellow therapists over the course of a week is so rewarding. And I think that joy that we feel resonates with the patients. And they can kind of, it brings that level, that vibrational level for them up, because we share this dynamic. So this like multi-therapist, both seeing people one session after another, but also together in one session, and getting all of this kind of dynamic feedback over a really intense period of time, allows them to break through things that they've been struggling with their whole lives.
Beautiful.
It's another piece of it too is, I mean, I'm sure, Monica, you remember like the first time you were in a seminar and were treated by multiple therapists, like how different that experience was for you and how much came up. And we kind of wanted to bring that ability to the community and to our patients too, because I mean, how often do you get to do a full lumbosacral decompression with 2 people? It's hard, when you have one person, it's hard to do that full treatment, to treat, arm pulls, multiple arm pulls and leg pulls and side body releases, and giving the opportunity to bring in the skills that John teaches us with multiple therapists to our patients, which is a unique quality that we try to, bring out of our practice. But I just remember how profound it was for me in my courses. Like when I'd be with one person, I could connect with them. It was great. But then when all these other hands came in and all this other energy came in, I was like, what is this? Like, how can we make other people feel this? So that was another piece of it where, John's brilliance of, God, just add more people in. Like, let's make it big. You get to experience that in these, intensive journeys that we've created. So it's fun too. It's also fun to just say,
blast,
let's fly, let's make it wild, and you are going to be held, and you can go to the ceiling, and we will all hold you up. So it's pretty cool.
Yes, it's amazing. Yeah. And, as a patient, then you have no choice. You can't just shut down and just, refuse to heal, because that energy is so powerful.
Yeah.
And it's just such magic into that amplifying effect, of having more than one coming together. And But I would imagine, say, if somebody's therapist and listening to this, they thinking, oh, but you know what? I don't know. I don't have people like this around me. I'm just alone in my space. You know, I can barely get to treatment because there's nobody around. Do you have any word of advice or wisdom or anything you would want to communicate to other therapists who are maybe craving that experience and wanting to give so much to their patients, but they feel like, well, you know, I'm just myself. So how do I amplify?
I would say that we are us. We are not them. So if you're listening, be you. Be you. Your journey is your journey. And it doesn't have to look like anybody else's journey. And what you offer to your patients is the flow of source energy through you. And it doesn't like our clinic doesn't look like anybody else's clinic. And that's good. That none of it should be a formula. And you need to find the best you possible. The other thing I would say is when you do that and you hold that space in your heart, you attract what you need.
Absolutely.
Like we didn't immediately after becoming MFR therapists find ourselves in this circumstance. We dreamt it, you know, and we were out on our own feeling this, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be great if, right? And continue to hone our skills as therapists and dive inward as people. And then it manifested. Right. So it may look like, yes, I'm all on my own. And to be honest, we are very fortunate in the Portland area. We have dozens of therapists. It's a very vibrant MFR community. So I understand that some people are limited in that sense. But I would just say that to the people in that community that those therapists are in, they can open a world that is unavailable to them otherwise, that they are the conduit to source energy in that community. And so the more they can be them and open that space, their patients will flourish and they will manifest what they need to do that.
Wow. I thank you so much for that. I think that can be so encouraging to so many people because bottom line, we cannot compare ourselves to anybody. And if you open yourself up, if you actually being yourself, your unique gifts and your unique self, you are magnetizing, right?
Yes. Yeah, I would add too that we've been, you know, offering all the positives about our approach.
Okay, I will be there.
But there's challenges too. Like Rachel said, great.
But maybe Rachel has anything else to do to add to you know building that community? Because
sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm a strong proponent of like a manifest destiny. So I went into PT school. I was set. I'm going to be a pediatric therapist. This is what I'm doing. This is where I'm passionate. I love it. And I did it for like 9 years. And I don't have bad things to say about it. I got a lot from it. Yeah. But I sat in it for a while when it didn't feel right anymore. It didn't feel right to me. And I listened. And I listened to my body and I listened to my community and I listened to the experiences that I was having. And I said, I need to go somewhere else. I don't know where. I don't know what's going to happen. But I just sat and I trusted it and I listened to it. And these wonderful people started appearing in my life. And yes, I was fortunate enough to be in the right places in the right times and open to allow that to happen. So my advice would be to sit in your space and say, is what I'm doing fulfilling and powerful and amazing? And does it feel right to me? And if it does, then just keep opening yourself up to it, just being part of it and present with it. But if it doesn't feel right, and if it doesn't feel like this is where you're meant to be, open yourself up to that energy, give that out to the universe and see what comes back to you and feel into the space of maybe this isn't the right place for me. let me seek out something else, or let me sit in this, or let me study something else. Let me go get some more treatment. Go do an intensive. Go, travel to Sedona and spend some time doing some work there. Just sit in your glow and your amazingness and feel what you need if what you're doing is not fulfilling to you. But like Jamie said, like this work is so powerful that just an individual bringing it to another individual in any community, you're going to change. You're going to make changes, and you're going to be sought out because you're going to help people. So
yes, beautiful. And it's a great advice, not just for therapists. It's actually a great advice for anybody, right?
Right.
Anybody who's maybe seeking their path in life and seeking their community. There's so much these days. I at least hear so much about, where's my community? Where's my people? I feel like I'm struggling. So we got to go inside and feel ourselves first and go through that journey. Thank you for bringing that. It changed the perspective.
Sure.
Wonderful. So let's get back to the challenges. If you
Yeah,
will.
we love each other like a family, as Rachel said, and families have conflicts, right? And part of providing the space for each of us to become our best selves, we got to go through some grime and some muck, and we bounce off each other and expose each other's vulnerabilities, and that has definitely come up. And in a professional context, everybody works differently. Everybody has different priorities. Everybody has different things they want to focus on and are comfortable with, the pace at which they want to work. All these things have come up for us. Because we're equal partners in the business, we have to build consensus. And that can be challenging at times, right? It can be really hard. Again, what helps us is that we started from a place of love for each other. We didn't start in a calculating way, in a conscious way of like, okay, we're going to start this business and pop, 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 pop. It came from this connection we have. So we return to it all the time. We, not as much as we should, of course, like all of us, but we schedule time for the four of us to get together, talk, treat each other, be people together, and not just work partners. And that makes the biggest difference. But there are conflicts, absolutely.
I think one thing that I've heard a lot, I mean, within our business, but externally as well, when we've assisted in courses and been present in classes and done things, a lot of people will ask the question, what do I charge? How much money should I be charging people? And it's been something that's been in our business as well. Like we have bleeding hearts, I think, in a sense that we want everyone to have this work and be able to afford this work. We've modeled our business as a cash pay practice. We don't take insurance. We do help a few of our patients out with super bills and things so that they can bill their own insurance or seek reimbursement on their own. But we simplified and streamlined everything to create money. This is what we charge. We're open. This is how much it's going to cost you. And, would you like to invest in your health and future with this? So I think my advice would be like, make sure you value yourself as a therapist. Like choose a price that feels good for you, because you spend a lot of time and money learning this and putting yourself out there. You've done professional work. You've done continuing education work. You built whatever practice that you're in. Like make sure that you value yourself first, and that the money that they're paying you is not out of, oh, I need money, I want to make all these millions of dollars. It doesn't have anything to do with that. It has to do with the fact that you are putting yourself out there to be present for this person, and there is a value to that. So make sure that you feel good with it, but stay firm with it. This is my price. This is what I charge you. And they know that, and you feel good with that. And then, and when you're ready to raise your prices, because you should eventually, make sure that your patients know that and say, I love you enough that I'm going to love myself as well and say that I have taken more courses and I'm more skilled and I can provide this for you, but I need to be able to provide for myself and my family too. So making sure that's known. So it's always a tricky, weird conversation. Everybody feels super uncomfortable talking about it. But I think that in any practice that you create, make sure that you value you.
Yeah. And this is the price at which both you, patient, and I, therapist, can feel love.
Yeah.
Like this is what it requires. This is how I can be present for you. This is the level at which I am open to you. And if that doesn't work for you, that's okay.
Yes, and there's value to therapy. It is a huge gift, and I think that still in our society we don't really understand what it means to actually have that, because not everybody has an opportunity as a patient to actually find a true outstanding therapist. And once they do, it's more than money. It is an incredible value. I mean, I'm speaking for myself because I've been blessed with being treated by people who are outstanding and amazing, and that changed my life. And honestly, at some point you're like, I'll pay you whatever, it doesn't matter. The money comes in. But I want this. I want to evolve. I want to heal. So I think that it just ups your game too.
Yeah.
As a patient. And it's so important because you put more skin in the game and then you get better results. So
sure.
thank you for bringing
Absolutely. I think also one thing talking about your prices does is make you challenge your own views around money. And how, if you're showing up to that session with that patient worried about their money, you're already introducing limitation into your treatment session. Right? Like that is an indication to me, and I've had to do this, that there's something you got to look at yourself, right? What is that limiting belief in yourself? And so get more treatment.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. I think in the therapist realm, that is a big issue for many people because we want to give and give and give and give. And we forget that we have value. And
then we get depleted.
Yes, exactly. And then we don't offer as much as we could. And so, yeah, that's very important. I appreciate you bringing that up. It wasn't on my mind at that time, but yes, absolutely. And all right, great. So what I want to ask you about is, what is your vision for the future? Where are you going with all this? Is there any better place you still want to get to?
We do. We would love to be able to provide like some more maybe mentorship for therapists in the area. If people are wanting to be part of, learning, we'd love to be a conduit for learning. We maybe at some point expanding. We're still 2 years in, so we have these grand visions of what we would love to do, but we want to make sure that John's work is pushed forward and is continued on and is honored in the way that it should be. So if we can, continue to grow and allow this amazing therapy and this practice to be brought to more therapists in more areas and make it accessible, then that's something we would love to do, to be just, vessels for the work. So
great.
One of the things I'm learning most in my life as I'm in middle age now is that I love the old saying, you dig your gold at your feet. And I've for much of my life had grand designs and plans, and I get to this place and then I'll be able to do that, and then I'll be able to do that, and then I'll be able to do that, which is fine. It's good to dream and to hold that in your heart. But if that becomes your mental focus, then you're not doing the things in the moment that are going to get you to that place. So for myself, we have our dreaming planning sessions, but those to me are much less important than rooting with each other where we are and deepening. I mean, we have this beautiful deep connection between the four of us but it can be so much more. It can be so much deeper. Like Rachel said, you know, in addition to the business, we've known each other for a couple more years than that. So it's only 3 or 4 years that we have this connection as the four of us. And that can be even so much deeper. And then out of the roots of that tree, I mean, what is possible is endless. And so for me, I'm really enjoying like shedding the idea of I got to have this goal, and then I got to have that goal, and then I have that goal, and those are good to drive me forward mechanically, but in my heart, be in this, what is the totality of this moment, and not be pulling myself away from this moment with regrets about the past or designs on the future, you know, but so much that I lose sight of this moment, which is, I mean, as we've talked about, I still wake up and come to work and like, we manifested this? It's ridiculous. And so I don't want to cheat myself out of that joy.
Yeah. Yes. By thinking about what's next in the future. Beautiful. Yes.
But we're open to it. Like what, if it comes, we're open to those. Like Jamie said, we dream of these things, but we sit in it. It would be great if we could someday, or what if this happened? And so you put it out there in the universe and you sit with it. And if and when the opportunity arises, we run with that. So there have also just been in the 2 years, many things that have arose and come to us that we had no idea that would come. And so, and we just say yes, and we just open it up and see what happens, which has been cool. So instead of being like, we need this, we have to have it, it just comes and we just say, let's see what happens. And so that's been kind of cool. So we'll probably run it similarly to that. Like if it happens, if somebody asks, can you do this? And we say, yes, we can. Or no, that's not right for us. You know, we just giving that opportunity to see where it shifts organically has worked so far.
Yes.
So I think we'll probably continue on with that. But having
the wisdom
is good. Yeah.
Yes. The wisdom to know the difference between that yes and no is developed out of the living in this moment. Right. Like if it comes to us and we can put it to the test against our values, is only possible if we really know our values and what we value and what we want to experience. And then something comes up, well, does that align with it or doesn't it? Right. The more we're present with how we are now, the clearer we're going to be about those opportunities.
Wow, there's so much wisdom in that. Thank you again. My image is to actually be going deeper and deeper and deeper into what is already present, deeper into this amazing abundance of what is present in this moment and what you have, versus trying to get to another place. And everything for you,
it's everything.
Yes. And from what, your story, it's all organic. It came up without, planning and wanting and being attached. It just came up because it was meant to be. And because, to my mind, because all of you, or each one of you, went so deep into your own process, into your own healing and your own journey first. That's my message I'm getting from this conversation.
Yeah.
The one, our guidepost is John Barnes, right? And he's the energy that brought us together. And I'm reminded of a quote from him. He says, if you're working too hard, you're working too hard.
Yes.
Right. And so for one of the ways that manifests in terms of what we're talking about is that if we're so future oriented, that becomes our master. Right. And everything we're doing in this moment is like, I have to serve that master. Right. But I'm working too hard. Right. Just be here. It will all manifest out of here. I don't have to work so hard. We come from a culture that is hustle, 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 hustle. It will produce everything if you just work hard enough, but that's all in service to something that doesn't yet exist. Like what exists now? How deeply can you go into that?
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much for that. Again, it's not just for therapists. I think it's a really deep wisdom for pretty much everybody and the patients as well, who are trying.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to get to this place where I'm not in pain, whatnot. But what do you have now? How deeper can you go into who you are and your gifts and your abilities, even amidst the pain, because we can't escape that.
Yes.
Wow. So is there any more words of wisdom or anything that you wanted to still tell us? I mean, I'm sure there's probably books and books and hours. I'm getting just a taste of you guys now. So if you wanted to, bring, just to wrap up, to bring the listeners and the viewers some words of wisdom or some final conclusion, what would that be?
Oh, geez. Something that I say,
final, but yeah.
I know, something that I say to almost every one of my patients when they sit down with us is, and they tell their stories and they're trying to figure out what they want. And I just say, well, what is it that you want with your life? Where do you see this going? What can you visualize? What can you see? And I think we need to do that daily, like even just waking up and sitting, what is it that I want out of this day? What is it I want out of this life? And create that visual of what it is that you envision and embody and value and love, and then let go of that which is not serving you anymore. And it's amazing how hard a simple question of what is it that you want really is. So I would say sit in that and let that resonate with you. What is it that you want? And then just let that come through you.
And that reminds me of one of our other mentors, Sheila Walker, who we've had the pleasure of working with some here. And she gave me this very early on in my training as an MFR therapist, and it stays with me in almost every treatment session. And what Rachel said really reminded me of that. And she told me, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. We're so obsessed with doing. But if we can, like Rachel's saying, visualize, well, this is where I want to be. Let me sit and find that in me, right? I don't have to, it will manifest. If I just stop doing, I don't have to race all the time. If I can just be in this moment and like Rachel said, sit in that vision, I will find it. I'm limitless. You're limitless.
Whoa. Thank you so much for bringing all this wisdom and your story. And I feel like that there's so much encouragement and so much elevated energy that can inspire therapists and patients and people who are listening. And that is something that I felt would happen here. So I really appreciate you guys, and thank you so much for coming over and sharing a little bit of your amazing journey. And well, thank you everybody for being here, and we'll see you next time. And be well by then. Bye-bye. Bye.